accidentally reply all to an email and it's mortifying.
Yeah.
And you're like, did I really just hit send on that?
Yeah, been there.
That's kind of how I feel about office politics sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's this thing you can't escape, but you're not always sure how to deal with it.
It can be a minefield.
Exactly. And this deep dive, we're really going in depth on this video transcript about the 4 main office personality types.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
Because have you ever noticed how there are, like, certain characters that just appear in every office you've ever worked in?
Absolutely.
It's like they follow you around, these archetypes.
Yeah, you're right.
And this transcript claims it can help us figure out who's who, and then, like, how to deal with these different personalities.
And not just deal with them, but actually thrive. Like, it's possible to use this knowledge to your advantage.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's break it down. Hit me with the first personality type.
All right, so first up, we've got the Martyrs.
Martyrs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think it's Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Everyone's leaving,
Oh, yeah.
except for that one person at their desk.
Oh, sighing dramatically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they want everyone to know they're putting in the extra hours.
I know the type. Always makes you feel a little guilty for, having a life outside of work.
Right, and the transcript says that can be kind of manipulative, even if it's unintentional. Like they're using their exhaustion as a badge of honor.
Ooh, that's a good point. It's like a weird form of office politics in itself. So they want to be seen as, like, the hardest worker, the most dedicated.
Yeah, but the transcript says it often backfires on them.
Really? How so?
Well, they're so busy trying to prove themselves, they often burn out or make mistakes.
That makes sense. I guess you could end up being less effective, even though you're working more hours.
Exactly. And they also struggle to set boundaries, which leads to resentment and even more stress.
Okay, so for our listeners out there, how can they make sure they're not accidentally falling into that martyr trap?
That's such a good question. I think it comes down to being honest with yourself. Why are you staying late? Is it really necessary, or are you trying to prove something?
It's like checking your motives at the door.
Yeah, exactly. And learning to prioritize your well-being.
Because burnout helps no one.
Exactly. It's not sustainable in the long run.
Okay, so that's the martyrs. What's next? What other characters are lurking around the water cooler?
Well, this one might sound a little intense, but the transcript calls them sociopaths.
Whoa, okay. I mean, that's a strong word to use in a work context.
Right, and it's important to clarify, we're not talking about, like, a clinical diagnosis here.
Right.
It's more about a pattern of behavior to watch out for.
Okay, so what are the telltale signs of an office sociopath?
They're all about their own self-interest. Like, they will throw anyone under the bus to get ahead.
Oh, so it's that person who takes credit for your ideas, or who's always trying to sabotage others to make themselves look good.
Exactly. And they can be very charming, very good at manipulating situations to their advantage.
Oh, so they're like stealthy. Hard to spot until it's too late.
Sometimes, yeah. The transcript mentions that this isn't just limited to, like, big-time CEOs or anything.
Right.
It can happen at any level of an organization. You might have someone in your team who's constantly playing these games.
Yikes. All right, so how do we spot these office sociopaths before it's too late?
I think it's about paying attention to people's actions, not just their words.
Okay, yeah, big point.
Do they consistently put their own needs above the team's? Do they seem to lack empathy for others?
Oof, those are some good red flags. Okay, so we've covered the overworked and the underhanded. What other office personalities should we be aware of?
Well, this next category might hit a little closer to home for some of us. Get ready for it. The Dimwits.
The Dimwits. Okay, I'm not going to lie, that sounds a little harsh.
It does, doesn't it? But the transcript clarifies that it's not really about intelligence.
Okay, so what is it about then?
It's more about those people who kind of unintentionally sabotage their own success.
Okay.
And sometimes their team's success along the way.
Oh, you mean like the person who's always missing deadlines or sending those reply-all emails that make everyone cringe?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
That guy.
They might have good intentions, but they just can't seem to get out of their own way.
Okay, I think we've all worked with someone like that at some point. But the transcript suggests this can sometimes be because of, like, deeper insecurities or something going on that they're not even aware of.
Right, absolutely. They might be terrified of failure or crave attention or have a hard time managing their emotions in a professional setting.
So it's not about making excuses for their behavior, but maybe understanding where it's coming from could help us all navigate those situations a little better.
Exactly. And maybe even help them get the support they need to break free from that cycle.
So we've talked about the martyrs, the sociopaths, the dimwits.
Mhm.
Are we doomed to just survive in this office jungle?
No, not at all. This is where it gets really interesting. The transcript actually talks about a fourth type, the winners.
Winners. Okay, finally some good news.
Right. And this isn't just about being like, the highest paid or having the biggest office.
Okay, so what makes a winner in the office, according to this transcript?
They're the ones who manage to achieve both personal and professional success,
Mm-hmm.
but they also make a positive contribution to their organization.
So they're not just climbing the ladder, they're actually making the view from the top better for everyone.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
thinking about the bigger picture.
Okay, I like them already. But how do they do it? It can't be just about working hard and being nice, right? There's got to be more to it.
You're absolutely right. They're incredibly self-aware.
Yeah.
Like, they know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. They understand the unspoken rules of the game.
Ooh, the unspoken rules. Those can be tricky.
Right. But winners, they just seem to get it.
So how do you even learn those unspoken rules?
It's about observation, I think. Paying attention to how people interact, what works, what doesn't.
And these winners, they build genuine relationships too, right?
Absolutely. They make an effort to connect with people on a human level.
That's so important, and it's something I think a lot of people forget about, especially when they're laser focused on getting ahead.
Right, and that's what sets winners apart. They understand that relationships are key no matter what level you're at.
And they know how to advocate for themselves without being jerks about it.
Exactly. They're assertive but not aggressive. They find that balance.
Okay, so anyone listening who's now like, I want to be a winner, can you learn to be a winner? Or are you just like born with that it factor?
That's the cool thing about this transcript. It suggests that anyone can cultivate these winning qualities.
Seriously, even if you've, say, accidentally replied all with a snarky comment about your boss, asking for a friend.
Even then, it starts with self-awareness, taking a good hard look at your own behavior and how it impacts others.
So it's like a workplace self-audit. Time to break out the feedback forms, set up an anonymous suggestion box.
You could, but really it's simpler than that. Just start by paying attention to how you're perceived. Are you building people up? Or are you tearing them down?
Are you contributing to a positive, productive environment?
Exactly. It's not just about hitting your deadlines, it's how you do it.
It's about the energy you bring to the table.
Precisely. And winners, they bring good energy. They're the ones who make you think, hey, I want to work with them. They make work, if not fun, at least bearable.
Okay, I'm convinced. Being a winner sounds way better than the alternative. So, to sum it up, it's about being self-aware, building relationships, and contributing positively.
And understanding that true power comes from lifting others up, not pushing them down.
Which, if you think about it, is the complete opposite of how those sociopaths operate.
Exactly. And that's why they ultimately don't win in the long run.
You know, it's funny because this whole time I've been thinking about those articles you see, those like top 10 most annoying coworker habits.
Yeah,
Like, how do you know when it's just a quirk? Like, we all have them, right?
totally.
Versus like a sign of a bigger problem. Like,
Yeah.
when does someone cross the line from martyr to like actually causing damage?
That is the question, isn't it? It's a tough one.
Right.
Because, we all forget to refill the coffee pot sometimes.
For sure. Or like accidentally reply all.
Exactly. But it's different when it's a pattern,
Right.
when it's like every single day and it's actually impacting the team's ability to function.
So it's about looking at the impact of those behaviors, not just like the quirk itself.
100%. Is it consistently undermining the team's goals? Is it creating a toxic environment?
Is it making everyone else's job harder?
Yeah. And ultimately, is it preventing people from doing their best work?
Because, let's be real, sometimes you might be the one accidentally throwing a wrench in the works.
Oh, absolutely. We all have blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's why this self-awareness thing is so crucial.
Self-awareness is like a workplace superpower, it sounds like. But what do you do if you notice these patterns in a coworker? Like, how do you approach that conversation without being, the office jerk?
Such a good question. And it's tricky because no one wants to be like, hey, you're being a total sociopath.
Right.
But coming from a place of empathy, I think, is key.
So, like, how can we help them be better?
Exactly. And maybe they don't even realize how their behavior is impacting others.
Because we all just want to, like, do our jobs well and not want to pull our hair out in the process.
Right? We're all on the same team at the end of the day. And sometimes just a little bit of feedback delivered in the right way can make a world of difference.
I love that. Okay, this deep dive has been so eye-opening. It's amazing how these, like, seemingly simple categories can really make you see those office dynamics in a whole new light.
Right. And hopefully it gives people a new lens to view their own behavior and how they're showing up at work.
Maybe even inspire a few more winners out there.
I hope so.
Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive, but we'll leave you with this final thought. The office might not always be a party, but it doesn't have to be a battlefield either.
Clear.
Choose your allies wisely, play the long game, and remember, sometimes the most strategic move is simply being a good human.